getir hidup dan pengorbanan terpaksa dihadapi demi kejayaan. Terdidik sejak mula, tabah berusaha tanpa coba melangkah tak kemana. Di mana kau berada, pencapaian tak tiba dengan mudah. Kini standing in the eyes of the world, hanyalah selangkah dari nyata. Keazaman membara di jiwa, menanti saat bebas merdeka. Tiba masa kau melangkah gagah, bersemangat ke arah matlamat sedaya upaya. Engkau terunggul, wajar standing in the eyes of the world. Harapan yang pernah terkulai layu kembali segar mekar bawah bayanganmu. Setiap manusia ingin berjaya, namun tak semua miliki tua. Kau menghampirinya, kesempatan telah pun tiba. Kini standing in the eyes of the world, hanyalah selangkah.
Welcome to Brampton Primary School. It's another year and students are back for the Learning Day.
Be a little bit brave. Don't ever be afraid to
dan pengorbanan terpaksa dihadapi demi kejayaan. Terdidik sejak mula, tabah berusaha tanpa coba melangkah tak kemana. Di wajar standing in the eyes of the world. Harapan yang pernah terkulai layu kembali segar mekar bawah bayanganmu. Setiap manusia ingin berjaya, namun tak semua miliki tua. Kau menghampirinya, kesempatan telah pun tiba. Kini standing in the eyes of the world, hanyalah selangkah dari nyata. Keazaman membara di jiwa, menanti saat tiba masa kau melangkah gagah, bersemangat ke arah matlamat sedaya upaya. Engkau terunggul, wajar standing in the eyes of the world.
Waalaikumsalam.
On the very day we have to hold it, so it's around 10 hours before we actually held it. So as well. I'm with Sheep Malaysia as well. So hello everyone. So just to be clear, this is a discussion. So if you want to respond to anything that we say, do so, because we encourage it very deeply. Kita galakan diskusi ini. Semoga diskusi ini juga bermanfaat dan ramai juga, dimana semua bisa berpendapat, semua bisa bersuara. Tapi saya harap semuanya juga bisa melakukannya dengan decorum. I hope everyone can talk properly. I hope everyone can respect each other's opinions. I hope everyone can be respectful to each other, to my colleagues, and to your fellow voters. Is everyone clear on that? Yeah, please, everyone, you can respond. Ramaikan saja. But anyways, so let's start by probably speaking about the manifesto first. Is that when we made the manifesto, for the first time, we didn't want uh, the problem was, right, is that manifestos can be maybe quite boring and maybe quite uncreative. So we tried very hard to like brainstorm, and we did like encounter certain obstacles when we try to make the manifesto. So basically, we of course did it along the lines of what Naki was going to do. So basically, the manifesto was along the lines of say employment laws and better budgeting. And I want to emphasize also on the budgeting because I want to clarify on this matter because a lot of governments do their tend to not do a budget bill or even do budget bills that aren't necessarily great. Sebagai contoh, hanya dua kementerian yang dapat dapat belanjawan dan that's not fair. Tak adil bagi kementerian-kementerian lain yang sebenarnya juga butuh. How come the best performing ministries get more funding if the ones that are say more public, but how about the ministries, say the ministries that have to actually work behind the scenes, they have to ensure that the government keeps rolling, right? So so that's kind of the say the garis besar. It's like the outline of what we were going to do. So anyways, Yano, Sheep, do you have any opinions on the manifesto? Something you want to share with people? Maybe Naki as well? Yano, Sheep?
Lepas tu Yano first. Bagi kat Yano dulu.
Okay, sure. Yano, Naki, Yano and Naki, do you have anything to say about the manifesto? It's okay to share, we're discussing this matter so that the people can understand our ideas more effectively. Maybe Sheep, you can explain your policies to the people and so that it's more clear as to what you're going to propose for the future, just in case that we're elected into government, inshallah. Anyone? Yano, do you want to explain your manifestos? Come on. Can you please use the VC so we can, yeah.
Hello, can you hear me though?
Can. Can you use the Roblox VC, by the way?
I'm not pretty sure though, but
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
So basically, about the tax system though, which is I really don't want to like for the voters to be confused about it actually. So basically, the plan is very simple though. Basically, we are going to like introduce a tax system which is we won't tax on based on the individuals because I believe that which is kind of impossible actually, which nobody wanted though. But we would introduce like a corporate tax which is a cukai on the syarikat, yeah, for like example lah. Basically, there is no like so basically there is no like legit income for the government to collect and then spend on it, like for example paying the civil servants or something else. I mean, like, you wouldn't want the bandar ringgit to be printed out by the developer, right? It would just cause inflation or something. I mean, you want like a legit revenue source or something, which is I try to introduce under this manifesto I proposed for my ministry. So yeah, if you have any question, you can ask me.
Yeah, and one of the concerns that that people had about the tax system was that it's going to be focused on quote unquote taxing the rich. Tapi itu tak sepenuhnya benar. Itu tak sepenuhnya benar karena we want to also establish an economic system, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Basically establish a proper economic system, which we don't have right now actually.
Yeah, and that's something we have to clarify, because if we don't even have an system economy, siapa yang nak kita who who can we tax? Jadi we need to establish the economy system first, and we have to follow up on what the devs and the admins want to do, and then we can move forward towards tax system, taxing that is more sophisticated, and cukai yang lebih complicated and such. Corey, I think Corey has a question for the candidate from the Ministry of Finance. That's you, Yano.
So what's the question?
Corey? Yeah, Corey, you can speak.
Yeah, let me open the volume. Okay.
You mentioned. Sorry, apologies. Okay, you mentioned about tax system for the country, right? Sorry, for companies, right?
Yes,
Regarding
indeed.
this tax system, unlike real life, there are tax releases such as capital allowances for capital expenditures such as new machinery or costs company may have. Are you going to introduce such tax relief as well in this upcoming general election?
Can you repeat the question, because I cannot hear you clearly because your mic actually. So sorry.
Yano?
Can Corin repeat the question, because I cannot hear you.
Can you repeat the question again, Corey?
Okay, so I'm working better. Okay, so I might better working better on Discord.
Nah, can.
Okay.
Can.
Okay, let me see. Okay, better on Discord.
Can. Better.
Okay, all right. So you mentioned about taxing companies. Okay, introducing a tax system just for companies. Will you also introduce tax benefits for companies such as capital allowances? By meaning, which means that whatever tax deductions such as qualifying capital expenditures, whatever is spent by the company, they may have tax relief on certain items. Will you be introducing such incentive?
Well,
Okay,
I mean,
you can answer the question. I believe to rephrase is that are you going to introduce tax allowances, which means that whatever tax deductions that maybe companies have will have all tax reliefs. That's the simplest kind of question that I could understand from that. I hope I interpreted correctly. Yano?
well, I mean, I would also look into that actually, but I also have to look into on the company, basically. Are they okay with the tax or tax system, and how many percentage they think is fit for the tax system? Yeah, so yeah, basically we would
Yeah.
do a survey or something.
So the tax system that you mentioned in your manifesto is not a fixed implementation, rather a survey. Am I right?
I mean, we would do a survey first before we implement that system, though. Basically, asking on how many do they make based on their revenue, though, actually, based on Bandar Ringgit, though, actually. So yeah.
But in your manifesto, you state introducing a tax system, which leads to believe the reader or the voters that you will be implementing a tax system. Is this misrepresentation of what you would be delivering on this generation if you do get voted into office?
Can you repeat the question again, because I cannot? Yeah. So yeah.
My question is this you stating that you were going to take a survey, is this a misrepresentation of your manifesto? Meaning by which, if you get voted in the office, this is not a confirmed plan. So stating that you want to do it for the betterment of the economic of MYS verse. So is this a confirmed plan if you get voted in or not?
Well, it is a confirmed plan, though, but for the tax rate, indeed we have to do some survey on the for the people, like for the executive who work for the company on like basically for example like how many percentage that they think is like appropriate for like the government to tax on because it would like give like a more like ba- uh, it uh, it basically would like give them some voice which is about which is that the government is going to do yeah so yeah
I'd
basically
like
like that.
to, yeah, I'd like to
Okay,
answer quickly.
final follow up. I want to ask the Ministry of Finance candidate. So, from your answer, you are saying that you may or may not, depending on the outcome of the survey, implement this system. If the companies were to vote against this tax system, okay, stating 0% of tax they want to be taxed, you will not implement such system.
Well, I mean, we would still proceed on the tax system, but certainly we are not going to allow like a 0% tax system. There would be a amount of like revenue, but we are actually trying to ask most of the company how much of the percentage they are fine of it. So like basically like 10%, 50%, or like 20% on. Sorry, or like 20% on the tax system. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay, no further questions.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd like to just follow up on the discussion. I think that was really great. Thank you, Yano. But I also want to add up is that I believe that even if we're gonna do a survey, I think it's gonna be more towards on taxing what companies can make profit and what companies couldn't, because that's actually a very important consideration to have, because not every company can produce a profit in Malaysia. So that's something that is very important to notice, and especially when we're talking about say media companies who don't real necessarily who don't necessarily provide any sort of profits, but they do provide developments such as moving cameras that were developed back during Brita days and now being being succeeded by Aurora, which is even more impressive because we now have a company that also focuses on development. So that's pretty cool, and that's pretty nice. So that's what I want to add up on the tax system, is that we need to also put into consideration a lot of consideration, because tax systems are really complicated, and we hope to make it as simple as possible for regular Malaysians and also for regular companies. So any more questions from the public? Probably any more questions? Any more questions? I hope everyone can speak here, so we can be more. Yeah, sure. Crazy. What question do you have? I believe it was towards Naki. I believe. Yeah, I believe it was towards Naki. If Naki Nami is going to be the next Margaret, and I'm assuming you're saying Margaret Thatcher. Yeah. I'm not gonna be the milk snatcher. Oh yeah. Naki, can you answer it on your own? Please be patient. You'll have your question answered. the health ministry has already been merged with the Home Affairs Ministry next this term, and we are going to prioritize mental health in the next term. And Crazy has another question. How do you exactly manage mental health? Are you going to integrate, say, AI chatbots and pretender psychiatrists? So unlike PDM's proposal, we will have inclusive storytelling sessions. And Crazy is also asking, what does that mean? And Naki will explain that these sessions will invite everyone to share their stories. So this means that these sessions will not necessarily be like one-on-one professional. And Crazy is asking again, like those support groups. And I believe so, because Naki is saying that we can all support one another during these sessions. So it's based on solidarity between those struggling with their mental health, rather than giving advices as non-professionals, and which I believe is more safer. Yeah, sure. Naki said again that PDM's proposal is early intervention services, which is irresponsible since nobody's in Malaysia is qualified to be in MYS verse is qualified to be a professional. So we are offering a safer alternative in handling mental health problems in MYS verse.
I have a question regarding the mental health.
Same.
Yeah, you can just wait a bit because I don't. I'll have to see if Crazy is done yet. Okay, he's done. Okay,
The guy before me
Blagesh, I
can
believe.
go.
Blagesh, yeah, from Aurora. Can.
Thank you. So I have a question regarding the mental health. Has GSB been thinking of like collaborating with any like mental health qualified mental health therapists or organizations for this initiative? Have you? And my second question is, if let's say there is there's a member in MOS Verse who are a qualified therapists or psychologists, will you hire them and pay them with real money, or what are your actions on providing them?
Okay, so let me answer it. So for the first, I guess the point of these questions are we have to be responsible as the government. Let's be realistic, because we're Robloxians. Not all of us are qualified mental health professionals, and if we advise the wrong advice, that would lead to very dire consequences, and it wouldn't be good for anybody. So that's the kind of consideration that you need to have. So, for example, if we have qualified therapists or qualified psychiatrists in MYS First, I believe the government is not necessarily going to be not going to necessarily institutionalize their role into these mental health sessions. But what I do think is that they're definitely qualified to be facilitators. I believe that they can facilitate these discussions and make them more fruitful and more useful for the people that are gathered in these support groups. And I think that's a really important thing to pay attention to, because we want to be responsible but also caring to those who are going through problems, however small their problems are. So for your second question is, is that if there's a member who is a qualified therapist, will you hire them and pay them? Again, this is where this is all goes back to responsibility. If we're not because if we start paying these therapists, it means that we're paying them for their services. But with real money, like I said, let's be realistic that we're a Roblox government. We're not. While we can certainly assist in helping those with mental health issues, we cannot intervene on whatever problems they have, because again, none of us, even you or even anyone here are mental health professionals, and that's pretty important to note, because if we do start say paying them with real money, that would obviously also lead to some problems with say the administration, because of course we need to keep it in Roblox, we need to keep it in role play. We cannot just go out and then do whatever we want, because it would pose some danger. It would pose dangers. So the point is that we need to limit its scope into Roblox, and then have it as a program that is supportive, but not necessarily say the professional help that you need. But what I can say is that we can educate people through psychological first aids, and that's probably a concept that we might introduce, psychological first aids, because everyone knows physical first aids, but not everyone knows psychological first aids. So thank you for your question.
I have a question, but my question.
Corey, yeah.
But my
sure.
question, I want the Prime Minister candidate to answer, because this is what he wrote. You state that the prioritizing mental health through inclusive community dialogue sessions to listen and share emotional stories. What is to say? What are the safety countermeasures going to be taken so members of the public will not misuse such information? Because we're talking about privacy. Okay, privacy is very important, especially online. And on top of that, a second question would be, what is to say that your advice or your whatever advice given to the one sharing emotional story is not the wrong advice? Yeah.
Okay, I'll refer your question real quick to the Prime Minister so he can answer it. But just to be, just to clear the dead air, is that, in my opinion, is that in terms of like countermeasures in privacy, I think that's
sorry, Mr. Clash. I want the opinion of the Prime Minister candidate, because it's important. No, you have to understand it's important, because he's the one who wrote it and he is the one who will be executing it. If you answer it for him, then we will be voting for him, voting for you and not him.
No. I'm not answering it for him. I'm just trying to talk my opinion before he'll speak, because he's using Roblox chat, right? So let's understand that. But at least in my opinion, right, in my short opinion, because the Prime Minister will answer, is that privacy is definitely essential, and I think you've brought up a really good point, and that is of course going to be one of the first issues that we're going to encounter, is that what can we do to ensure that people who participate in this program can be given given the right to privacy whenever they're sharing their stories, and then in terms of the advice, right, it's not necessarily that everyone's going to say that we're not in these groups, that they're not giving out professional advices, but it's important that it's important that these groups have multiple people, so that the right advice can be given. So if someone says the wrong thing, other people can correct them. And I think that's at least my short explanation, my short answer, my personal answer. So, Naki, do you have any opinions on the matter? It is a good point raised, and we will look into these countermeasures such as agreeing to waivers before applying to join. We will also make participants who want to participate issue their consent for them to participate.
Okay. Follow up on your reply. I think stating that it's a waiver would not qualify as a safety measure because it's unenforceable in such of a MYS verse. We are talking about the keselamatan warga negara of MYS verse. It's very important because such information leaked out or being abused by someone can potentially affect their own life in real life. So if you're trying to understand the outer the measurement of what I'm trying to talk about here, it's the safety and privacy of the person. This isn't something should be taken so lightly. I can understand your idea, but I do think that simply putting out, I want to do a mental health initiative on Roblox, isn't that too dangerous? What would your response be?
So, Naki, you can answer that question. Let's wait for his response. Uh, uh, but for Bhagesh, you'll have to hold up for a minute. So Naki can answer it. So Naki answered that I understand the gravity of this, and we will try to think about this further internally. I hope that answers your question, so we can move on to Blagesh. So for Blagesh, you can draw your question away.
All right. So I would like to direct this to Mr. Naki as well. As you may know, recently, Roblox has been quite a main issue or a main a threat to the younger generations. When you're talking about mental health, how can you convince the adults in real life to allow their kids to share their personal stories? And let's say there's this one citizens of MISverse are about to lose their lives because of those personal issues. Are you going to what are your advices? Are you gonna bring in the are you just gonna just give a normal advice, or you are going to, you know, bring advise them to call the real life hotline preventions, or what are you going to do actually? Because as you mentioned just now, you're trying to avoid relating the real life organizations, and when we are talking about mental health, Roblox is not the best option to, you know, to solve most of the current generation's issues and, you know, older generations. So what can you how can we, you know, how can you convince them, Mr. Naki? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your question, Blagesh. So let's wait for Naki to respond. And I hope everyone's doing okay, actually. Are you guys doing okay, Corey and Blagesh? Yeah. Wow, okay. What's the dinner, by the way?
And because I just like ran off the house for a while and grabbed some dinner and then came back. Thank you for the thank you for asking though. What about you?
I've already ate. It was ayam gulay. It was
Mm-hmm.
chicken, yeah, kind of like chicken curry.
I see. Was it
Yeah.
good though?
By the way, yeah, it was good, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It was cheap and good. But anyways, Nati wants you to ask the question again because he couldn't hear the question.
Oh, okay. So let me rephrase. As you may know, recently Roblox has been a very hot topic in, you know, in TikTok, in social media platforms where, as you may know, kids have been, you know, using it to endanger people's life. So how can you, as the MOH, if I'm mistaken, or the upcoming ministry, will be able to convince the parents who are monitoring their kids devices, or the kids to share their stories. And aside from that, previously Mr. Clash also mentioned that you are trying to avoid the real life agencies like government agencies. How can you give the how do you say the emergency advices when someone is trying to lose their life due to personal problems? Because as you may know, Roblox is not a good platform for it's not a suitable platform for you to express your mental health, or to receive advices due to weird people on the platforms and so on.
Okay, so Naki answered is that for these sessions, we're mostly focused on sharing some of their experiences and not as actual venting platforms. We are hosting these sessions for us to relate to these stories. It's like a human library sessions you've seen in the real world. We won't go into deep issues. Okay, so let me
Wait,
just
um,
we just wanted to be as casual storytelling sessions, and I probably want to add in into this is that of course there's a valid concern that in terms of mental health things can get worse. Is that if it goes into the direction of worsening mental health, it's of course that the best and the long-standing advice is to seek a professional, because we're like I said, we're not professionals, and if we handle things like very sensitive issues, which I won't say because we're in Roblox and we're talking Roblox politics, we don't want to capitalize on those issues. But if it goes into like the direction of there needs to be a preventive measure, is that these storytelling sessions can offer like solutions that can direct them to professional advice. So I think that's the perspective I want to give, is that these sessions aren't going to be like prevention that your mental health is as in it's not going to prevent like these sensitive things from happening, but it surely will direct you to the right path that of seeking professional advice and seeking professional help, which is even better than the concept of storytelling sessions. Is that these storytelling sessions are just there to accommodate those who have moderate issues on moderate issues that they face on the daily. But if people have worsening health issues, of course, the the most effective advice is that you have to seek professional help, and hopefully the MYS versus government can can direct people to seek professional advice. That's all.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question. You said that this is just a storytelling session. What if someone clip that storytelling session and make it into a joke? What are the government gonna do? Are you gonna, you know, arrest them, or what are the, actions that you're gonna do? Yeah.
So for you, Naki, to answer.
I'm okay with anything. I mean, it would be better if Naki can answer that.
Just to clear it up, after Bangladesh, it's going to be Ham,
Mhm.
and then it's going to be Timon. So I hope everyone can be more clear on who's next and who's next. So just to clarify there,
Okay.
while Naki's answering. So hopefully that's okay. Naki, are you there? Oh
Oh,
my God.
okay.
So let me just clarify to everyone is that Naki somehow lost his electricity. But Blagesh, can you repeat the question again so I can answer it?
So
Sorry, wait.
convenient, eh?
So convenient.
Yeah, wait. One second, I'm chewing. Wait. All right. So, as you may know, that what happens if, let's just say, in this situation where you initiated the storytelling sessions, mm, and there's a user from there's a player from Spurs recorded it and clipped it and make a joke on social medias. How can GSB, or Naki or whatsoever, whoever here can take actions? And yeah, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna relate with the moderations, or what?
Okay. So like I said, this is also referring to Corey's question, I believe, is
Mm.
that in terms of like trying to ensure trust between members, is that it is a very valid concern, and we're trying to as we go through these policies, we want to uh, find more ways as to how are we going to ensure that. And of course, the problem of privacy and the problem of public shaming is is also valid. And true, and the hope is that everyone can trust each other, and the hope is that everyone who uses these platforms are people who genuinely want to tell stories, not people who are there to witch hunt other people and so and so. And that, and again, based on trust, based on say what Naki said, like forms that you have to fill in, and of course collective responsibility of everyone, right? Because if everyone's going to tell a story, you have to, if everyone's going to tell a story including you, you can't be spreading those stories around, or otherwise everyone's going to spread those stories around, and that wouldn't be pleasant for everybody. So everyone has to help each other. Help me, help you. See?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, so after Bagesh, it's I believe it's Ham. Yeah, Ham, you can ask away. Thank you. Me. So, yes, a question. I believe the panel has been grilled enough about mental health. Yes, definitely. We have a lot of policies in our manifesto, and one of the most central part of it is mental health. But I believe it was productive. I would like not to touch about Ministry of Home Affairs. Wow, my portfolio finally. So in GSB, comma, it states regarding preventing institutional violence. So interesting. Stating FRU wearing full out gear to respond to protesters. Stating it erodes the trust of the public. And PDM has the same idea too with its community policing idea. So a first base question from Ham is, how did the parties or GSB in particular come to the conclusion that MYS versus police has not been getting along with the public? And that how we appear is eroding the trust of the public. Okay, so just to answer here. So number one, we'll have to like frame the words that that MYS has not been getting along with the public. It's not necessarily that, it's the fact that a lot of civilians tend to have very bad experiences with police. For example, if for examples, certain minor infractions can lead to immediately arrest, and for a much bigger example is that protesters who come out and protest tend to face police with riot gear, even though the protesters doesn't necessarily want to fight with the police. They're just trying to assemble. They're trying to protest, and in terms of say community policing idea is that community police has existed since back in 2019, but it was but then it was dissolved. But in my opinion, right? In my opinion, is that community policing isn't effective because the perception that the people have prevents the very concept of community police. Is that that community police only changes how people perceive the police. So if in the police force there's no behavioral change, it's not going to affect anything. So so basically the community policing is just going to be pitted against police officers and the people, which is bad, right? We don't want people to be pitted against other people. So that's why the community policing idea isn't necessarily it's not a bad idea. Let's say that it's not a bad idea, but it's certainly not effective and not addressing the root problem as to why people perceive the police that way. So of course that law enforcement is going to involve itself in violence. Of course, the basics of law enforcement is violence. So in terms of so of course there's going to be violence, but the question is that how can we ensure that the police is using proportional force and with proper cause to be treating people the way that they're treating them. So, and that's why I want to emphasize that change doesn't cannot come merely from bottom to top. That's what community policing PDM is trying to propose, is that change comes from bottom to top. Even though it's without the political will of the top, you're not going to do anything. There's nothing that's going to be achieved. So that's why under our government, we're going to make that change from top to bottom, so that the people that are working from bottom to top can meet in the middle. We will work together and then meet in the middle, so we can put up a police force that is more professional, that is more perceptible to people, that can be perceived as good law enforcers in this nation. And that's pretty essential because we need law enforcement in this country. And since you asked that how is removing gears from FRU is any better, I'm not saying that gears from the FRU should be removed. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the gears that FRU has should not be used during peaceful protests. And I think that's something that's very important to notice. I'm not saying that gears from the FRU should be removed. No, because it's just as essential when it comes to situations that blow up into a riot. But it shouldn't be used against peaceful protests. Why? Because because not only it's disproportionate, it's also intimidating to protesters. It is an intimidation tactic, and when we intimidate protesters, we're not necessarily giving out the message that we respect the right to assembly. We're not respecting the right to the freedom of assembly. Instead, the message that's going out is that you can protest, but we will beat you up. And that's the wrong message that we want to put up, is that we shouldn't be treating treating unarmed protesters with armors, batons, and riot shields and helmets. Is there any information to back you up that MIS police has used inadequate force against unarmed protesters? I'm not saying that they have used inadequate force. It's that I'm saying that in certain cases they have used excessive force, and we want to create a police force. You and I want to create a police force that is professional, and that's something that we're both in common. That's why under my ministry, it's that we're not here to antagonize the police. We're not here to remove any gears. We're not trying to remove the power of law enforcement that the police has, because why? The police is important. The police is just as important as every other agencies in MYS Press. What I'm saying is that we need to create a police force that is both professional and respective of people's rights, respective of civilians, respective of their freedoms, respective of everything that the civilians have. So if they want to air their grievances, they shouldn't be met with riot shields. They shouldn't be met with water cannons. They should be met with police forces that are indeed trying to protect them, because that's the use of police presence during these protests. These police protests aren't meant to direct their gears towards protesters, but to direct their gear towards threats against protesters. So that's what I'm trying to exemplify here through what I'm saying. So Mr. Ham, are you done asking? Are you finished asking? Okay, one more question. Ken.
You can hear me, right?
Yes, Ken.
Since this question is a little bit long, I'm going to be using the microphone.
No worries. No worries.
So, as to my belief, I believe that the PM candidate, Mr. Naki, is a proud advocate for socialism. There are many rising corporates and leading, and also, let's say, mengambil position sebagai ianya adalah satu yang tidak boleh dimain by the government or by any individual. So it's like in a way that they are indirectly threatening that nobody should be touching them. So as we know also that many big companies too in MOSverse is privately owned, and it's all owned by one individual, by one corporate company, a huge one actually, formerly known as the Royce Group, now known as the Aries Group. So how will, if JSB is going to win and be the government, not negotiate, but I suppose how will you navigate with the, I suppose, perhaps the powers that these corporate people have, as they are not just normal people, they also have certain influence and power amongst the public. So how will the future government of JSB be doing this? That's my question.
Right. So you did mention about Naki's ideological leaning, but I think is that even with our prime minister candidate's ideological leaning, is that we're working together as a cabinet, right? We did, just because someone has certain ideas doesn't mean that they're lost immediately to their own ideas. Is that we're coming together, we're coming forward as a cabinet. We're not coming forward as one member, right? So the ideas that Naki has, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're gonna do certain ideas. No, is that we're gonna take governance into a more professional and logical level. So it's not that. So if Naki Naki has certain ideas that he wants to implement, but those ideas can, at least according to our idea, is that it cannot be implemented. It has it's unrealistic and etc. And that's important. We'll have to talk about it. That's why GSB is strongly committed to brainstorming, right? Is that these manifestos didn't show up out of nowhere, out of initiatives from the ministers, but also through discussion, also through brainstorming. So it's not just us talk. It's not just us doing our own work. It's that as the cabinet, we're united. We want to come forward. So when we bargain and negotiate with big businesses such as Royce, or even National Wire Service, etc. It doesn't mean that with our PM being leaning to an ideology, doesn't mean that we've lost all negotiation skills. We've lost all negotiation value. Of course, when we govern, we have to have that. We need to have that kind of that negotiation skills. We need to be able to bargain with businesses, because businesses are the very thing that also holds this country together. So so by alienating certain companies because someone leans into one idea, that's terrible, right? That's not the governance that we want to raise. That's not the government that we want to make. So that's at least what I can explain when it comes to the relevance of our prime minister candidates' ideological leaning, and in terms of how we can conduct our governance with big businesses, despite those ideological leanings, right? So that's the answer that I can give. So now maybe I can refer this. So I hope that's just one question. I hope you're finished, hopefully. Okay, thank you. Okay, you're welcome. I believe Timon. Did we have Timon here? I hope Timon's still here, because it did take a long time. Okay, so if Timon's not going to talk, let's have the final question. Let's have the final question from Mr. Corey.
AFK 50 minit.
Corey? Corey?
Beliau AFK 15 minit tadi dia cakap.
Oh my god. Okay, sure. Okay. Hey, there's Sherman over there. Sherman, you can ask your question. Ask away. I don't know. He joined randomly. Who am I? I'm Cynically Clash. Thank you, Sherman. We have worked for 5 years and you still forget about my identity. That's okay. And we're Gerakan Suara Bangsa. We're GSP, by the way. There's Naki, there's Yano, and there's Sheep Malaysia. I hope you can recognize some of them. So, anyways, if I believe that since Corey is going to be AFK, and since we've gone through the questions, I believe so. Just to clear up, is that wow, great job, guys. We've had a very intensive discussion on mental health.
Hello.
Oh my God, he's back. Okay, Corey, you can ask away
Yes.
finally.
Okay, my question is directed to the Minister of Youth and Sports candidate, Mr. Sheep_Malaysia. Does he have a mic?
Yes, he has.
Hi, my question to you is this initiative that you presented in your manifesto, the EX5 Member 2.0 initiative. As a voter, a potential voter for GSB, my concerns is that such initiative is synonymous with the rumpit culture in real life, and this culture has is clearly a not so impactful culture in a beneficial sense. Just for some statistics here, in 2022 alone, there are 545,000 deaths due to this Rempit culture, which means, in a sense, reckless riding using a motorcycle. How would you respond to my inquiry into this? Because my concerns are that whatever event you host, all right, it will be posted onto social media, and understanding the current state of Roblox in Malaysia, okay, we understand that there are many restrictions that will be coming soon. Will this initiative that you present bring a bad spotlight to MYS Verse?
Alright. So, secara simpelnya menanyakan risiko ke macam mana? Minta maaf.
Masalahnya,
Okay.
ni inisiatif yang you nyatakan dalam manifesto kamu adalah synonymous dengan hal-hal semacam rempit. Okay? Culture rempit lah. Faham kan? Culture rempit dekat Malaysia. So,
Alright.
so pertanyaan saya ialah, adakah ini memaklumkan kepada Roblox? Is it a bad light? Maksudnya bukan memanfaat kepada MYS Verse, kerana ini EX5 community initiative ini bawa tidak bermanfaat kepada MYS Verse.
Alright. Baik. So, pihak MOIS, saya dengan calon timbalan saya telah berbincang pasal hal ini. Kami menyambut inisiatif ini kerana ia sebagai sebuah aktiviti, fun aktiviti lah, bukan sebuah sports yang rasmi. So macam sampingan sajalah. Okay, kira sebagai fun aktiviti. Alright.
Sorry, tapi ini bukan answer to soalan saya. Sebab pertanyaan saya ialah, is this, saya guna bahasa Inggeris lebih baik sikit. Is this initiative yang ini you bawa dalam manifesto, what is your response to people who are saying that dia sama dengan culture rempit dalam Malaysia? Yang dan in addition, dia ada statistik 545 okay, deaths dalam Malaysia.
Oh.
Ya, boleh dijawab, Sheep?
Sebentar. Boleh Datuk Seni Klik-Clash bantu translate? Saya kurang faham, minta maaf.
Sorry, what was the question again?
About orang yang mengatakan inisiatif ni sebagai macam culture rempit dekat real life lah.
Oh yeah, okay. So I think it's that so at least my short answer.
Okay. I think I got a better Malay. Thank you, ChatGPT. Sorry, my Malay is not that good. Okay, this is Malay translation with ChatGPT. Apa yang anda akan katakan tentang inisiatif EX5 yang dimaklum di bawah manifesto kamu yang sinonim dengan budaya rempit? Okay, is this better?
Alright, okay, baik.
Okay.
So, kami tidak akan bawa inisiatif ini sebagai budaya rempit lah, melainkan ia adalah inisiatif sebagai motorsport event. Ya. Dan dia akan event tersebut akan mengikut undang-undang pengangkutan. Adakah ia menjawab soalan?
But you need to understand that your initiative EX5, okay, notwithstanding to the rempit culture I mentioned, it advocates for reckless riding of the motorcycle. What would you have to say for it?
Oh,
Kesimpulannya, apa tujuan bukan EX5 ini? Tak ada tujuan langsung pun. Itu saya tambah sikit daripada Datuk Korea.
Betul. Terima kasih kawan.
Yeah, I guess that's a translation. Sheep, are you there? Ya Tuhan, dia butuh mengaji pula. Okay, so I'll just answer from my perspective, right? So from my perspective, is that I don't think that through this initiative we're going to promote like some sort of rempit culture that we have, but I believe is that it's the government's duty that whenever there is a very negative phenomenon ongoing, we do something along the lines of trying to control it. So we can acknowledge that something is not going away, but we can try to control how the phenomenon is viewed, right? So if say EX5 promotes rempit culture, instead it should be that EX5 controls that culture. So if it starts to affect other people, we'll have to control it, and we'll have to make it like official events so that people who tend to do these things can have the platform to do attractions they want to show. So it doesn't negate people from doing like tricks and through motorsports, but instead gives them the platform to do it safely and under better supervision.
Okay. Follow up on what you just said. You said better supervision. Well, what is to say that the attendance is overwhelming, and on top of the attendance being overwhelming, you have people who are doing stunts recklessly. I don't know if you have seen, but from my experience being in Bandar Raya, okay, every motorcycle rider has been doing tricks, getting caught in accidents. You're no longer, like what you say, you're not advocating. I can agree, maybe you're not advocating, but you're opening the door to better suit this hobby of theirs. So what do you say to this?
That's why there's this program, right? Because when it's a program under the government, of course it's gonna come with certain precautions. It's gonna come with precautions that we'll have to consider, such as how safe is it? Like if we do something, we need to assess the risks and assess what can potentially come up whenever we do this. So that's why in controlling it, because every sports have their own risks, right? Every sports have injury risks.
But this is not a sport, right? This is a culture, a dangerous culture. And on top of what you just said, if this is something that you need to experiment more, then why is this part of your main five initiatives in the Ministry for Youth and Sports? If this can be something secondary, but this is your main five. One of your main five initiatives that the Minister of Youth and Sport is proposing.
Again, like I've said, if we're trying to control something, we need to assess the risk. So it's not necessarily something that if we do that because every culture that is dangerous is of course it's of course going to get the government's attention. When the government gets that attention, the first instinct that comes to mind is that how can they control it? If
But you need to
the best way,
understand you are
that the best way is that if we want to control how that culture spreads, is that if if the culture that if the culture that they conduct is that it's dangerous, and when we try to control it, it can become much safer than compared if they do it recklessly and without supervision. So that through this program is that we can minimize the risks that comes up when it's not being controlled. So there's a difference between controlled and uncontrolled, right?
Clash, I just want to ask a quick question. I'm so sorry, yeah, Mr. Corey, I have to interrupt
Sorry.
you. All right. This question is directed to MOYS, which should be to sheep. Why why are you the one who answers it? Because to be honest, the manifesto is written by each person, right? It's not by you only. So let's say why are you still answering it? Supposedly it's supposed to be sheep and not you. So let's say if he becomes the MOS, are you gonna do his job or he's gonna be the one doing his own job?
very good question, Blagesh. Yo.
Sorry, I'm so sorry I have to ask that.
A simple question is dia sedang mengaji.
Okay. Okay. Understandable. Perhaps is it alright for us to, like, you know, in future set because tomorrow is the early polling, so maybe tomorrow, right, around nighttime, set a one-to-one session with MOYS, because I assume that a lot of people over here, especially the ones that are watching in YouTube and the ones that are in the call, are also interested to question the MOYS. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add on top of Blagesh, continuing of my statement, on top of using the reason of mengaji, right? Can you say that it is safe, and what securities do you give the citizens or the voters that someone who's mengaji is suitable to hold such of a position, hold such office? Because we are voting into someone who we are voting in someone. You are voting in someone, okay, who will be managing MOYS, which is a community which holds a big margin of our player count. Do you know that? Even the football program of MYS, right, holds a very big fan base. Badminton, all the sports held by the previous administration. Why are you putting someone, or why is there someone such as Mr. Sheep _ Malaysian he's still learning, like you said, mengaji, right? So what do you have to say to this?
I think you're getting it wrong. He's actually doing the religious activity of mengaji. It's not the word studying. It's actually him being AFK to do mengaji.
Oh, his prayers, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so that, yeah, okay. Understood.
So,
yeah, it's okay. Not everyone can understand. That's why we have this discussion.
all right, I would like to use a little bit of Corey's statement just now. So I understand that, you know, Muslims, they have their, you know, religious time, and I do respect that. However, just now when Mr. Corey threw a few questions towards Mr. Sheep, he was unable to answer. And as you may know that in MIS verse, sports are really, really well known, alright, in this nation. How can someone like Sheep, who doesn't even understand like questions from the audience, can become an MOS? How can he determine that the upcoming 25th term he can ensure that the MOS the youth and sports are going to stay the same or better or even worse with that limitation of understanding?
But I think that's both Corey and Lagesh raised a very good point. But I believe that I don't think that MYS is necessarily going down the drain because someone has an activity to do, because let's relate to each other that both of us, at least all of us, are incredibly busy at doing something.
That's true.
But the best thing that we can do is that I believe that Sheep did this while Sheep did the religious thing, and I hope not to say it too much because otherwise 3R and shit. Oh my god.
Okay,
3R and
I
things.
think we
Sorry.
should. I think we should divert away from that fact and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
continue to discuss on the manifesto, because from what I see, okay, before I was straight away, because what I'm seeing is 5 initiatives presented that has clear to no impact. It does not, like, okay, we talked about EX5 earlier. Now we're going to talk about establishment of Marcy. What's the fan base? What is the market for it?
That's why we're trying to establish the market for it, because so that people
No,
can.
no, I understand you want to establish the market, but what is the need for it? Is there a one? What's the number of people who have interest in such activity? Because you're going to establish entire new body. What is to say that this body dies, or what is to say this body does not survive?
Well, okay, let's clear this up. Is that when it comes to these ideas that we propose, is that it's not going to be like oh my god, I forgot the question. Oh my god, I lost focus now. Can you repeat the question? Just a short one. Just a short one.
Okay, establishment of Marcy. What is the
Yeah,
market?
okay.
What has been the so far interest for it?
Okay. Yeah, now I get it. Okay. So because under PDM is that we'll have to acknowledge facts. Is that PDM developed the youth and sports sector very well, and then they developed the sports that are usually popular, sports that are conventionally popular, such as football, and such as boxing as well, and then mountaineering and much more. And I think it's not necessarily that that Marcy is an idea that won't be sustainable, but instead it's an expansion of the youth and sports sector. It's that we're not going to simply stay in the same bubble, because we want to also propose new ideas, right? The same way that PDM has been proposing new ideas from through their programs that they have been doing. So, like, for example, like mountaineering, not everyone went with the idea of mountaineering immediately, but because there's a trend for it. And I believe your argument of who's the market for this is valid. It is that if people are given the chance to experience something, if people are able to experience things that they haven't usually tried, they're going to be interested. And then when they're interested, people are definitely going to play, and then the market will establish itself. So of course it's an idea worth exploring. It's an idea that's going to be that's prime to our policies. So it's not always, so the ideas that we propose aren't all say bad or unsustainable or such and such. So that's
I'm sorry, but I don't think you're getting the main question I'm giving, because you're establishing a body by which means a statutory body. Am I correct? A statutory body meaning it will have its own legislation. Am I correct? Because in your manifesto you wrote official body to develop maritime and aquatic sports throughout MYS verse. We're talking more than introducing a new sport. Introducing a new sport could simply just mean MOYS recognizes aquatic sports, but you're not. You're establishing a body. Not only that, you will be introducing legislation as well, and bringing this to the Dewan Rakyat. So what do you say to this?
I think every sports, because it's separate. Not every, because certain things need to be established in order for certain sports activities to be able to function. And I believe that there is rationale to behind these ideas. But I believe that Riz, yes, Riz, are you able to speak? Hello, Riz.
I still don't think you're answering my question, but I'll move on.
Yes, calm down, calm down.
The question is quite hot.
It's not that it's hard.
This question is very important. No, this question is very important because we have seen so many terms, okay, promises made that are redundant. Because to me, this is your opportunity to make a difference in many of youths playing in MYS verse. If you're going to introduce something so redundant as to a body with a specific body to a sport with no current market, no current interest, and pray and hope that it might develop. It's redundant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope it goes well. That's not a very good answer, nor a security given to the citizens willing to vote for you.
Of course, these ideas are worth exploring. Like I said, of course sheep and also risks will have to be, well, they'll have to be committed, because of course when I'm explaining this from a perspective of another shadow minister, but also as the conductor of this whole event, and currently has his but anyways, that's the kind of answer that I can give, at least personally. So I hope that Mr. Sheep can answer this. Sheep, are you there?
I don't think
Hello?
so. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there he is. There we go. He's finished. Yay. Let me just brief you real quick. So basically, Corey is asking about Marcy. So in Marcy, he has concerns about whether it's actually sustainable, because Marcy doesn't currently have that market. It doesn't have an established market. So how are you going to establish a market for Marcy, and how are you going to be able to guarantee that it's going to be a sustainable body? Because this is not just an organization that we are forming. This is a statutory body. So I hope you could answer that.
Flash, can you repeat the question in the Malay or Indon? Sorry.
Jadi macam ni, jadi Cory bertanya mengenai Marcy. Jadi dia bertanya bahwa Marcy tidak memiliki market yang ada gitu. Jadi tidak ada market, belum ada orang yang sepenuhnya tertarik kepada ide bahwa ada sports maritime and sea sports. Jadi bagaimana Anda dapat bagaimana Anda dapat memunculkan market itu bagi Marcy? Karena ini bukan sekadar organization. Ini juga berkaitan dengan statutory body, which is legal and which can make its own regulations. Jadi bagaimana Anda dapat mengembangkan sebuah pasar, sebuah ketertarikan agar Marcy dapat bertumbuh?
Oh, alright. Okay.
Yeah.
Baik. Jadi pada perancangan awal, cara untuk kami menarik perhatian lah dalam perumahan Marcy ni ialah kami mengadakan sukan yang kecil dulu, seperti mungkin sukan memancing juga boleh dikira, dan seterusnya kita akan buat sukan-sukan yang lebih expert lah, seperti berenang, diving dan sebagainya, insyaAllah.
Okay. I tanya dalam bahasa Melayu ya.
Correct.
Soalan saya ialah, apakah minat pasaran semasa yang telah anda kumpulkan untuk menubuhkan Marcia sebagai sebuah badan berkanun? Sebab saya explain tadi, untuk menubuhkan sesuatu badan sukan like Marcia, anda perlu ada satu legislation ataupun akta dalam Dewan Rakyat. Adakah anda faham apa yang saya tentang? Sebab ini adalah sangat penting. Okay, ini adalah sangat penting punya hal.
Baik, kiranya masuk soalan tuan tu kena menyatakan ke dalam parlimen dahulu lah. Okay, baik.
I don't want to answer, but I just want to say that this is going to be the last question that we're going to take because we have our own things to do. And so I hope Corey can understand. I hope everyone can understand. So this is going to be the last question that we're going to take. So Sheep, you can continue.
So maksud daripada saudara Corey, kena menyatakan perkara ni dekat parlimen dahulu ke macam mana?
No, masalahnya
Baik.
Anda tulis dalam manifesto, okay, GSP, dia akan menubuhkan Malaysia sebagai badan sukan, betul?
Betul.
Penggunaan perkataan badan boleh dicakap sebagai statutory body. Okay, maksudnya mesti adalah satu badan yang recognize di undang-undang, akta-akta MYSverse. Faham? Okay.
Right.
So soalan saya lah, apa minat pasaran? Sebab tadi Crash cakap tiada minat pasaran, tiada apa-apa survey yang diadakan untuk mencari minat untuk Malaysia ini. So ini adalah satu benda yang boleh dicakap sebagai
asing lah.
Asing, tidak redundant lah, bahasa Inggeris cakap redundant, kerana tidak ada manfaat kepada MOYS, sukan negara kita, tidak ada manfaat. Dari segi macam inilah saya tengok.
Jadi kira macam sesuatu penubuhan tidak ada iklan awal lah, kira senang kita. Macam itulah. Tidak ada market test. Betul.
So jika tidak market, kenapa mahu menubuhkan satu badan? Dan adakan satu akta, okay, yang tiada manfaat kepada politik negara kita. Polisi yang tidak bawa manfaat kepada kita.
Right. Okay. Memang Malaysia tidak ada market ataupun tidak dikenali, agak asing. Tetapi ini antara usaha kerajaan lah agar dapat menarik pemain ke dalam satu Malaysia lah. Ya. Pembaharuan di era sukan.
Okay, terima kasih ya.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming today. Very exhausting. Very exhausting. Everyone's tired and it's 10:35 for us. And I believe there were very valid concerns on mental health. There were also concerns about the home affairs in terms of policing. And there's also the very scrutinizing questions on the portfolio of youth and sports. And I believe that I thank everyone for coming today, and everyone's been great. Everyone's been very helpful. Everyone's been very active, and you guys are what you guys make GSP, the GSP that we know, the GSP that is accountable, the GSP that is so real. Yes, the GSP that is obviously more transparent to you compared to the parties, just the neighboring parties, the ones that with the Tengkolok and the ones with Bunga Raya. So anyways, enough with the chit chat. Good night to everyone. You guys have been great. Bye bye.
Amazing.
Absolute cinema.
Margaret Thatcher is dead. Ding dong, the wicked bitch is dead.
Oh, jangan carut. Jangan.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're getting. Oh my god, sorry. And that's it for today's. Hey. Yeah. Okay, and that's it for today's live broadcast. Tune in to tomorrow's Q4 update on Aurora Television's YouTube channel at 9 p.m. and we'll have the political live discussion. And we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everyone. Have a nice night.
Welcome to Brampton Primary School. It's another year and students are back for the learning day.